Now, this is where I pushed back because my question is, how authentic are companies being with you? Hey there, and welcome back to Career Therapy. My name is Martin McGovern, your career therapist. And today we're going to be talking about a discussion that came up in this week's group coaching session for the Unstuck Coaching program. The question we're discussing is, how authentic should you be during the interview? Now, this is a big question because authenticity is important. It's really important in the job search, especially at the early stages when you're trying to figure out who you are, what you want, where your career is going, what your values are, and really trying to establish who you're going to be in this professional life that you're going to live. However, authenticity gets a little bit dicey once you start putting yourself out into the real world. There is the truth, and then there is the promoted truth, right? There is what you know about yourself, which is a lot of things, and then there's what you present to the world. And in the group call, one of the Unstuck Coaching participants was asking about an upcoming interview. They were looking at the job description and they saw that certain things in the job description were a really good fit, certain things maybe weren't that great of a fit, and they were wondering how authentic to be so that they don't oversell themselves for the role or undersell themselves for the role. They didn't want to oversell themselves, but they did want to show up authentically. Now, this is where I pushed back because my question is, how authentic are companies being with you? Really think about it. When you go to a company's website, do they tell you about the time that they laid off 30% of the staff 6 months ago? Do they tell you about their revenue issues? Do they tell you about the fact that someone just bought the company, made a bunch of changes, and laid off a third of the workforce, like some big name companies that we're seeing out there right now? Looking at you, FANG companies. Are they authentic in the job listing even? How much of that job listing is truly authentic? 60%, 50%, maybe? And what about when you get the job? How many times have you taken a job only to find out that what they had in the job listing is nothing like what you're doing on a day-to-day basis? Or how many times have you taken a job and your manager changed, or the role completely changed, or somebody quit and you got delegated a bunch of things that weren't in your job description, and you got told that your job is completely different than what you thought it was going to be, and suddenly you're doing twice as much work for half as much pay? Are these companies being authentic? How many times have companies hired someone, had them move completely across the country, and then within 6 months laid them off because of budget changes? Were they being authentic when they were offering those roles? Maybe. Were they also being authentic when they fired everyone? Probably. So how authentic should you be? Well, what I tend to see is that people are too authentic. And what I mean by too authentic is that they wear their insecurities on their sleeve. When you go on a date, you don't want to just sit there and rattle off all the worst parts of yourself. You want to present the best version of yourself to whomever you're talking to. And that's especially true in an interview. I think so often when we're thinking about authenticity, we think about it too early. We think about it when we're looking at a job description. We think about it when we're interviewing for a job. But really, we should only be thinking about authenticity when it comes to accepting or rejecting that job. Up until that point, your job is to get that job. I always say, try and get every single job that you're given an opportunity to get. And then once you have that offer, then be hypercritical and objective. Once they've given you something in writing, look through the paperwork, look through the numbers, look through the job description again. Look through any changes to the job description that came up throughout the interview. Then authentically decide whether or not to take the job or leave the job. And if you need to take the job and do it for 3 to 6 months to find out if it's right for you, there's no problem in learning whether or not this is the right choice. You can always leverage that for your next job, or at least fill the gap so that you're not just turning down an opportunity and going back to the job search without having really given it a chance. Give things a chance. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know where it's all going. You don't have to have everything on day one. You're allowed to ramp up. You're allowed to figure it out. You're allowed to change deadlines. You're allowed to get in there and say, Why are we doing it this way? Here's some other ways we could do it, and offer changes. That's why they hired you. Companies are just a bunch of people running around with their hair on fire trying to solve problems. And they're hiring you not to do a thing, but to help them solve problems. If you just come in and do the thing, but the thing isn't making things better, you're going to get laid off because this department's not working. So you have to go in and say, based on what I know, here's what I think I'm supposed to do. But now that I'm here, I'm going to do a little bit more digging and figure out if that's actually the right stuff. And if it is, do it. If it's not, go talk to someone and get it changed. So don't disqualify yourself too early. Only be as authentic with the company as they are with you. Don't put everything out there. And definitely don't lead with your insecurities. And show up and be quote unquote authentic by saying, here's what I know I can help with. Here's what I think your problems are. Can you confirm that these are your problems? Because here's how I think we can collaborate. You're going in there with a collaborative mindset and a little bit of authenticity. So focus more on the collaboration and focus less on the true self-expression. Be yourself, but be the best version of yourself. Get every job, and then you can reject them when the rubber hits the road. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other job search questions, let me know. I'm here to be your career therapist. So whether it's a toxic workplace, trying to get a promotion, trying to change jobs, or just trying to break into an industry, maybe you're having a mid-career crisis, that's what we go over on this channel. So I hope to hear from you. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments about being authentic. Should you be authentic? Should you not? How authentic should you be? Let us know. And of course, like and subscribe if you enjoy what we're doing here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.